Galilee where I live with my nice straw cowboy hat on and a nice cool evening sitting outside with the dogs. And we have some important things to cover, and I will break them down for you directly. First, I'd like to wish a Shabbat Shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and let's do our praise. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 There's no Messiah like Yeshua. Okay, Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah based in Lebanon, did his 3 o'clock speech after his 4 or 5 day buildup, and it was, in my opinion, he changed his speech at the last minute or the last few hours. Now, I could be wrong, but I think he did. Okay. What happened is there was Muslim groups in Syria that oppose Hezbollah being in Syria, and they fight against the Bashar Assad, ruler of Syria. There's been a civil war there for 10 years or something. And they were saying that they're going to use this opportunity of Hezbollah and the Iraqi militias and the IRGC in Syria to attack the Hezbollah, who they hate, and Bashar Assad. They hate Hezbollah predominantly, I assume, because they support Bashar Assad, the dictator ruler, king of, well, I don't know what they call him, the king, I don't know. He's inherited the country of Syria from his father, kind of like a family business, like a restaurant or a dry cleaner. And they probably correctly figured out fighting against Israel, with or without America helping Israel, would be such a strain on them. They could come from behind them and put them in a pincher where they'd be fighting on 2 fronts. And I would, of course, assume that the Americans would enjoy this and probably help them with weapons, funding, intel, reconnaissance, and so would Israel. So the same type of thing happened in Lebanon. This was the day before the speech, or maybe not even 24 hours. The Lebanese people, the army, and similar Muslim militia-type terrorist groups in Lebanon said that they would attack Hezbollah from the rear in Lebanon. They're not going to come through Israel because they're in Lebanon. So they would have Hezbollah in a pincher move. So I would say you got to thank Jehovah on this one. This is stranger than fiction. I mean, this is too much for just to be done, I think. This was Jehovah. I don't see anywhere in prophecy where the country of Israel gets devastated. I don't see that. Okay, so it's a little confusing. I was a little confused watching this, but so Hezbollah in Nasrallah, who's the Hezbollah head, in his speech said, well, I've drawn, a fourth of the Israeli Air Force up to the north, and I don't know, 50 or 100,000 soldiers and stuff like that, and we're engaging them on the border to pull these forces away from Gaza, all those forces. Okay, so he basically punked out in old 1960s talk for your older folks. He backed out. I believe it was at the last minute because I don't think the idiot would have, maybe I should not underestimate how dumb he is, but I don't think he would have scheduled such a big speech to just lay an egg. And the people in Gaza are very mad at him. And they're very disgruntled. They've been deflated. Okay, so now let's talk about what's happening. Blinken was here. Now, I told you earlier today, I don't think Blinken's true agenda was the second state solution or having a ceasefire. I think Blinken had a different agenda he wanted to talk about with Netanyahu and the generals. Okay, and that agenda, again, I'll reiterate quickly, is Iran. There's, I think, 70 ships, warships, in the area of the theater here that are mostly American, but they come from other countries. I know the UK aircraft carrier is chugging its way over here. The Dwight D. Eisenhower's in theater, that's an aircraft carrier group, and other ships. And America has about 5 warships in the Red Sea, and Israel has 2. And the Americans are intercepting the Houthi rockets headed towards Eilat, which is in the very south of Israel, with great deal of success. So they are helping. They truly are. And they've given us weapons and supplies. And that means they're truly helping in that regard. But this is far from over. Give it time to develop. So there's not going to be any temporary ceasefires. There's not going to be any fuel going into Gaza for Hamas or anything like that, okay? Netanyahu made that firm. And I think Blinken knew that when he was coming over here. He could call Netanyahu on the phone, for crying out loud, They had stuff to talk about, and it wasn't that. And the two-state solution thing, the chances of Israel going for a two-state solution now are about as good as, Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck being the 2 witnesses. It's just sheer nonsense, okay? We gave Gaza back, and look what happened. We had a mini Holocaust on October 7th. And as I told you, there is a documentation from a video on a cell phone taken from one of the terrorists that came into Israel on October 7th, where they took a baby, an infant, and put it in an oven and cooked it alive. Okay. And remember, we are in the year of recompenses, which is the same year as redemption. Just look around you. It doesn't look like it. Come on. The recompense is payback. And to the Jew first and the Greek, and that's the good and the bad. So, the recompense is happening now to Hamas. Yes, it is. Israel's dishing it out. And I'm going to show you how this thing's going to finish playing out the way it looks now. It could always be subject to change. Iran threatened and said, this was several days, I think it was 1 or 2 days after Nasrallah's speech announcement. He said, we're going to give, Israel until the 3rd of the month, today, to stop, the Gaza attacks, to leave Gaza alone and all that stuff, right? Or then we're going to do something without any specificity as to what they're going to do. Well, the deadline's up, and he's done nothing. See, the Muslims in Hamas are different kind of Muslims than they are up in Hezbollah. There's Sunni and Shiite. And the Shiite are like, Iran, Iraq, Hezbollah, the Houthis or some kind of a thing like that, And the ones that are Sunni, you have your ones that are sitting back, like, Kuwait, the UAE, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Oman, and stuff like that. They got all their different subsects, but they're divided like the churches with the denominations. But and the rabbis have divisions too, so they're not enthusiastic about going around and attacking Israel. There's something in the Quran that where they talk about that Israel is Israel and something like that. I don't follow that stuff very much, but about 1 or 2 days ago, if you scroll up a lot on my Telegram, you'll see I gave a breakdown of all these Middle Eastern countries and if they're Sunni and Shiite, and you see a pattern. And the pattern is the Sunnis are not waging war and the Shiites are. That's the pattern, more or less. I broke it down. You'll have to scroll through my Telegram. If you want to get on my Telegram, you got to download Telegram Messenger, the app, install it, send me an email. My email address is on the bottom line down in the description box, and I'll read it to you here. It's Israel Giving with the number 7. One word, Israel Giving with the digit 7 at gmail.com. Just put Telegram in the subject header and I'll fire back to you the invite link, and you just click on the invite link after you install Telegram Messenger and you're in. Now, so Iran looks like they punked out too. Now, you see the thing that's starting to come to light, and I would think to Nasrallah and definitely to Hamas, is that they're throwaway assets. The head of Hamas, the heads, plural, have private jets. They're hanging out during this time in Qatar or Qatar, however you want to pronounce it, in 5-star hotels, having a nice ribeye steak and a baked potato and a good Caesar salad, that kind of thing, right? And they did recently, in the last 24, 48 hours, fly to Iran to talk about this type of thing, okay? Those are the real leaders of Hamas. So this is cannon fodder to them, okay? And Iran is at the top of the food chain here because they got the money and the weapons, and they're cannon fodder. And I think Nasrallah got the bright idea that he's cannon fodder to Iran. And he's seen what Israel's done to Hamas. And he's gotten threatened by America as well. And he sees America knocking down the Houthi rebel missiles coming out of Yemen. And he's sitting there thinking that, hey, the mullahs in Iran don't give a hoot about me. Who am I to them? Go attack Israel. Go kill them all. And then, okay, so what is in it for Nasrallah? He blows up some apartment buildings, maybe in Haifa and Tel Aviv, if that, right? And then what? Then he looks like Gaza. We hit 12,000 targets of Gaza. What do you think the Gazans have to return to up in the north? Because they're in the south where they're gone. Rubble, broken streets, no street lights, sewage lines broken, water lines broken, power outages, internet outages, cars burned and blown up. And what's there? Give it another week and then ask yourself what's there, What are they going to come back to? Got it? Read between the lines. Scripture, they shall swoop down on the shoulders of the Philistines. You're watching it now. You're watching it. Okay, what's happening in Gaza? We have Gaza split in two. There's the north and the south. The Hamas is mostly up in the north. They have some tunnels in the south, but it's minor league. Inside the north is Gaza City, which is the seat of Hamas. That's their Washington, D.C., or their London, or their Rome, whatever you want to call it, okay? That's their headquarters is there. And Gaza City is surrounded by us. We have begun exposing tunnel entrances, okay? Now, there's a lot of ways you can do that. One way, since we have a bunch of troops on the ground in there, and we have American advisors with us, and America's flying drones and flights over Gaza looking for clues to the hostages, although I don't know how they, maybe they think they'll see hostages being moved out in the streets or something. I don't know. I don't get that one. It doesn't make sense to me. There's no breakthroughs on the hostages that we're aware of, but why would they tell us? So what's happening is now that we're getting the tunnel entrance/exit exposed, we just dropped ordnance down there, right? Now, explosives, I don't know what size or whatever, but it closes the entrance and exit, which is problematic for them. And they're not about to start reopening it. These things go down like 100 feet. And some of them, they come up on a ladder. Some, they have a rope. They shimmy up with a rope and this and that. And they drag the missile launchers and the missiles up with them. And they set up the missile launcher and the missiles, I don't know how close to the tunnel entrance, probably 100 yards or so away, maybe more. And they launch the missile or missiles. They could set 5 or 10 launchers up and launch them all. Then they got to make a mad dash to get back into the tunnel. And they probably carry the missile launchers with them. And then they lower them down in the tunnel and climb back in the tunnel when the GPS coordinates come through on the computers and we start retaliating. Oh, I'm sure they have 1 or 2 minutes to get out of there, which is probably enough. For one missile launch, there's probably 4 or 5 guys carrying the equipment, It's a dangerous game they're playing, but they know how to play it pretty good. They're used to it. So now with 300 miles of tunnels, they call it the metro under Gaza, there's going to be a lot of entrances and exits to blow up, but it's going to happen, Now, this is the beginning of the end of Hamas. The spirits are broken. Nobody's coming. Nobody's coming. And Israel is not backing up. I heard today that they said they're thinking of setting up a special court to try the terrorists that they've identified by DNA and other things, pictures and stuff, testimony of who entered Israel and did these horrific acts. And this is going to be not a long, drawn-out, trial. It's going to be probably a few hours per person, if that. Or they may try like 10 at a time. Or so. I don't know what they're going to do. But it's going to result in summary. It's basically going to be something like a military tribunal trial with summary execution right away. I don't know how they're going to execute them. Israel doesn't have a death penalty that they enforce. So I typically would think it's hanging or firing squad. Israel hanging they wouldn't do. Lethal injection doesn't sound like they're going to bother with that. I think it'd be firing squad. Now the Hamas people, of course, are going to start thinking about surrendering, but the terms of surrender are unconditional surrender. And these people, there's thousands. I think there's up to 5,000 that actually came in that day on October 7th. So a lot of civilians came in to rape, plunder, pillage, steal as well. I don't know how keen Israel is on, running, 900 summary executions. And, I don't know what the position is on that. But it's over now. They're surrounded. They're cut off basically from the south. We're bombing the daylights out of them all day, all night. And tunnels are starting to collapse. We're getting entrances. We're on the ground. We're watching with drones, planes, tanks. We see them come out of their rat hole. Boom. We attack, and then we know where the entrance is, and we find it. They usually camouflage. It's like a trap door with stuff on the top of the trap door. That makes it look like part of the terrain, dirt or leaves or whatever. You get the idea. Now, the hospital's being attacked. These geniuses are commit war crimes, and they put their little command posts and big command posts underground under the hospital. So you can't really bomb or attack them, so we have to go through the hospitals. We tell the hospitals to, leave, and sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't, and generally they eventually leave. So this is the phase we're in now, going after their big, I don't know what you call them. They call them metro, they're big train stations, their Grand Central Station, they're big hangouts. They're getting destroyed. So the end is very close to Hamas now. It really is. It's over. Russia said they did not give any missile systems to Hezbollah, like the Wall Street Journal said. They denied it. They probably never did it. Russia is also scared because if these militia groups come after Bashar Assad, well, he's the one giving Russia permission to be there, and Russia has a Navy base in Latakia on the coast of the Mediterranean in Syria, which is very, very important for Russia with an upcoming war with NATO. Very important. I mean, really important, big time, like an 8 on a 10 scale. And he also has an air base near it. And he's fighting against ISIS people and other people that are attacking Bashar Assad. He's trying to help them. So if he really tried to help Bashar Assad with, let's say 20 or 40 or 50,000 of these militia people or whatever it would be coming after him and Hezbollah, and the IRGC would be on the receiving end of this too, combined with Israel pounding him with everything. And Israel would roll in with tanks too. So what would be thrown against them would be probably American jets, because they've attacked the American bases almost 30 times in Iraq and Syria. Now, these Iraqi militias have told America they want all their bases out of Iraq. And America has some big bases, the Green Zone stuff, like in Baghdad up there. And I don't really think Biden and Blinken are in the mood to make a general withdrawal out of the Middle East because Iraq wants them to. And I can tell you that this is not Hamas. This is a different thing. And the Iraqi militias over there are really going to attack these American bases with vigor. They said they would be doing it next week. On the Muslim calendar, they have a Shabbat that goes Thursday night to Friday night. So technically we're in the next week. So they were probably saying after our Shabbat. But let's see what happens. Our Shabbat starts on Friday night. Theirs ends on Friday night. So I think they're going to do it. Oh, yeah. And they're talking about banzai raids on the bases, not just mortars and missiles, They're going to soften the base up with mortars and missiles, shoulder fire, artillery, everything they got. And then they're going to try to attack the bases. And, it's going to hurt a lot of American soldiers, and America has got to bring air support in. Like, it's on the front burner. Although that's not in Iraq, of course, that's in Syria, but they're kind of tied together. Iran right now, I'm pretty sure it doesn't know what to do, because the Hezbollah puppets are getting cold feet. They don't want to take the road of Hamas, which is, they're going down to Davy Jones's locker, Hamas, Now, so they're not so, they're not going to go listen to Iran and get into a banzai death attack, They're not going to go commit harikari. These are not samurais, That's not them. So Hezbollah could make a choice right now. He could go attack civilian population centers in Israel for a very brief period of time, maybe a half hour, maybe 4 hours. And then the place is going to look like Gaza. And then he's going to be hunted down badly. Like they hunted down Saddam Hussein, they'll hunt him down. America said they would get into the fight if Nasrallah opened up another front. They don't consider these border skirmishes and occasional rockets another front yet. So Hezbollah seems to want to be around to play again another day. However, if I'm correct, and I think I am, that this thing with America with a massive naval armada here is about Iran, and it's really that's their target. Israel can take care of Hamas on its own. There's no problem with that. Okay. Hezbollah and Hamas we could take care of on our own too, but it's more complicated. So if America hits Iran, Iran's going to tell Hezbollah, if you want another 10 cents out of me, you're going to attack full steam ahead. Israel, I'll never give you a bullet, a missile, or a dollar. And that might change Nasrallah's mind. I don't think so. But it might. I don't think so. But in order to prevent that threat, you see, if we wait for Hezbollah to attack us, the damage in the first few hours is significant. But if we attack them first, that's called a preemptive strike. The damage probably goes down by 80%, maybe 90%. So Hezbollah has warned us that, if we do a preemptive strike, we're not going to believe what happens, the idiot also warned America. He says, I have things for your naval vessels. Well, apparently Iran or Russia or somebody, probably Iran, gave them anti-ship missiles. Okay? Now, I don't know how good they are up against the American defense systems. They may fail. They may not work. Okay? And America may knock them down, or they might work, and they might work some of the time. But I don't think Blinken and Biden appreciated being threatened by Hezbollah. So the problem is, can Hezbollah take out American ships if there's an attack on Iran? And the Americans might come up with a big question mark. We don't know. So they may tell Israel, go ahead and do your preemptive strike. We're with you. What do you need? And as this Hamas thing finishes, and it's coming to a pretty good conclusion, a victory for us, it frees up our military resources. Look, what it boils down to now is destroying the tunnels. That's it. They come out of their holes and snipe at us, and they usually get killed. The more tunnels we destroy, the closer and closer it comes. And we have a whole anti-tunnel unit, engineers and stuff like that. We have armored heavy equipment, and we're taking care of the tunnels now. They're going. So that's what it's boiling down to. That's it. It's changed. Okay? It's turning easier for us. So it's still going to be a rough fight for some more days, but not long. These tunnels are going to go, And that's your update. So please pray for me, Moshe, and my wife, Rivka. Pray for our peace, safety, protection, joy. Pray for our animals and pets that are all rescues. And pray I don't have to go in the bomb shelter. It's got mildew. And that's what I got for now. And make sure you subscribe, because if things start happening, I'll be coming on with live streams at various times, and you'll get noticed. And